Guess what, everybody? I still like Tears of the Kingdom. It is a pretty good game, but not a game I planned on covering twice in a row. After my Depths video, I really thought I was moving on to a Majora's Mask challenge. I knew you guys wanted a Sky video, but to be honest, I just didn't think it'd be very interesting. There wasn't much to do, and I knew it would only be like 15 minutes. Still, I was itching to play the game a bit more, and you guys clearly wanted me to give it a shot. I decided to just play the challenge and see what could be done up here. And, well, you've seen the title. But before we get into that, let's rewind a bit. I knew I wanted to continue the challenge on the same file as the last video. It just felt like a nice little bit of continuity, and you know I'm a storyteller. Don't worry though, if you haven't seen the Depths video, you can still fully appreciate this challenge. Last time, I 100% completed the Depths without anything from the surface or sky. Now, it's time to expand my horizons. The biggest puzzle to start was actually leaving the Depths. I told myself I'd only entertain a sky challenge if I could get back up to the sky without going through Hyrule Kingdom. And, well, I have no idea why, but when I pocket rocketed up to do some quick testing, the sky map popped up and not the surface. Well, great. Guess I actually have to make this thing. I suppose the first step is to do a traditional sky video, everything the sky has to offer. That means I'll be hitting all 28 shrines and grabbing every outfit as well. Let's talk rules. This will be a direct continuation of my last video, so all of those rules still apply. The only amendment is never leaving the Depths will be changed to don't touch the surface. See? Life is so easy. So here it is, the Tears of the Kingdom Sky Challenge. Let's see what's possible. Here we are, everyone. The same file as the last challenge. It feels a little strange coming back, but I'm on a mission again. My first order of business was getting more rockets. I only had 3 at the end of the last video, and that is not gonna cut it. I warped right to the construct factory and threw some shit into the thing. I had no idea that using large zonite charges multiplied the output of the devices. I just used them because I had more of them. Look at this, the machine is jammed. I was about to get down to business when I noticed Farosh flying by. Dragon materials are pretty handy, so I flew over and farmed a scale. I was worried about my shield's durability, so I decided to summon a hoverbike to fly away. It went about as well as you'd expect. I know the last video was all about me getting good and whatnot, but I want to remind you guys that I am human and stuff like this happens a lot. A coward would edit this out, but I'm going to let it linger. That's right. Feel the shame. There it is, the way out. I still don't understand why the surface map loads when you're in a vehicle, but not when you're in a free-falling state, but I guess it doesn't matter. I flew up to a safe distance and then used Pocket Rocket to bash my head against the ceiling a few times. When you reach a certain height, the minimap on screen flickers between the depths and the sky. If you pause and open the map when it's blue, you can warp out of the depths without going through the surface. And here we are, everybody! Fresh air and sunlight! We made it back to the sky without ever touching the surface. After spending over 150 hours on a Depths video, I forgot this game had colors in it. Look at how beautiful everything is. The birds, the trees, the waterfalls. I can go anywhere I want. I'm free! I spent a few minutes walking around and just enjoying the scenery, but as the sun set, I knew it was time to get to work. Priority 1 is upgrading my battery. You can't do this in the Depths, but I have quite a few crystallized charges thanks to my time down there. It was enough to get 9 additional cells, fully completing 4 batteries. Now that I know these are useful, I'll be sure to collect more as I go. So much to do and so little time. Where to first? I'd like to get the diving outfit, I guess. Each piece is located at the top of a large pillar. The first one's a straight shot for the Great Sky Island, so I puff my rocket 3 times and land on a wing to get going. There were several connecting flights, but I eventually made it to my destination. After spending so much time in the Depths, I was giggling to myself every time I picked up a new item. Look at this, a Stamilla Shroom, my first! I've beaten the game on this file. Haha, yeah, now this looks like a sky challenge. Alrighty everyone, that's the first of 28 shrines. We're making great time. Nabbed myself some tights. These sexy things will let me skydive with more mobility. I was just testing them out when a shooting star whizzed by. Must be a sign of good luck. This is one of those shrines that needs a green crystal to open. For a second, I was worried about the huge robot that was guarding it, but then I remembered I am extremely powerful. His cause of death was officially documented as a natural disaster. I tried to attach the crystal to my hover bike, but that made it way too back heavy, like your sexy dad. We're not totally out of luck though. I stuck the robot's guts to the crystal and saved it as an auto build template. If you're not familiar with auto build cancel, it saved my life in the last video. When I summon the template and cancel the build, it'll hover a set distance away from Link until I use auto build again. Normally I use this for clipping, but it's also incredibly useful for hauling things around. Shrine number 2 when I'm feeling #Raru blessed. Man, you just don't get shots like this in the depths. I mean, unless the orange light is coming from lava. There's plenty of that. Not sure if fall damage canceling is necessary in low gravity, but being unsure is how you get yourself killed. Buy gold, kids, and always fall damage cancel anything above 5 feet. I never thought I'd say this, but I am extremely cold. I went back to the Great Sky Island to grab the ancient leg warmers. I could have grabbed these before the Depths challenge because I wanted a totally empty inventory, but now I'm free to grab all the clothing on GSI. Oh yeah, I look good. This sailboat shrine rules without the paraglider. You just pocket rocket around and land on these launch pads until the end. And there we go. I got curious and decided to fly into the wind temple on my bike. I don't know what I was expecting, but the terminal obviously doesn't work without Tulin, and he's living it up on the surface. I was minding my own business, flying around in my hover bike when somehow I triggered the surface text. What is actually the problem here? I'm nowhere near the damn ground. This is just like when I triggered it in the last video. I reverted to my last save and blocked out the memory. It's not like I was doing anything. Wait a minute, I was doing something. I was heading back to the depths to gather supplies. Now I know what you're thinking. Oh, Snappy, how is this a sky challenge if you're going into the depths? What's wrong with you? And to that I have to say, do you see the surface on my map? Returning to my natural habitat, I immediately established myself as the apex predator by fall damage canceling onto this wing. I planned on killing the pilot myself, but one of his buddies got so frightened by my greatness that he friendly fired the wing, killing the pilot instantly. Yeah, that's probably how I'd react if I had to fight me too. Honey, I'm home! This place smells just as mildewy as I left it. I'm mostly just here to gather Zonite. It's an essential resource for auto build, and you can only get the stuff down here. I'm also a little short on shields, so it'll be nice to restock on those too. Remember when I said I couldn't take these post holes with me into the next challenge? Now I'm really wishing I had, because gathering these sucks. Yeah, hey everyone, I'm from corporate. I'm just here to see how y'all run things around here. Just pretend I'm not here. Goodness, boys, this is no way to behave in a workplace. There appears to be some kind of gas leak. I'm going to need you all to evacuate from life. After 2 hours of spelunking, I have 4 new shields and a ton of Zonite. Smell you later, Deps. I'm out of here. Wait, Hyrule Kingdom again? So it is the bike. I don't get it. I tried 5 more times and couldn't get the sky map to load once. The surface didn't always appear, but the sky never appeared when I was on my bike. After 10 minutes, I tried Pocket Rocket and, big surprise, the sky appeared on my first try. What does this even mean? Is the sky just a state of mind? Could I do anything I wanted on the surface if I just had the right grind set? Oh, these questions are giving me a tummy ache. Let's just warp back to the sky and pluck away at some more shrines. With 3 pocket rocket puffs, I'm back on a wing and breathing the open air. It's so nice to have flexibility like this. Some of you might be disappointed that I didn't start fresh for the Sky Challenge, but believe me when I say the extra resources are going to be necessary for what I have planned. This shrine has clowned on my fellow gamer for too long. I will not play by its rules. I refuse. This big sky tower seems weird, and I have no idea how you're supposed to get inside. I'm a master of the depths, not the sky. I guess it's time to bust out an old friend. I lined up my positioning and then summoned my ghost stick from the previous video. I clipped through wall number 1 no problem, but there aren't any stalactites in here. Because of that, I had to climb down until I found a fence lingering out of bounds. I could stand on that, so I used it to set up clip number 2. That one got me into some weird negative space, so I had to use a 3rd clip to get back in bounds. Wow, this makes me feel like a secret agent or something. We didn't have any cool shit like this in the depths. I hate it down there. These shrines that take all your shit really suck for me because my shit is pretty much all I am. I don't have any heart or stamina upgrades. I don't even have a paraglider. What I do have are my lightning fast reflexes. Maybe I should just become a makeup YouTuber. I can still set up Pocket Rocket, which makes me a god in low gravity. Poor bastards never stood a chance. Hey guys, did you know there's water in this game? You can use it to combat lava. Be sure to comment so she knows. After all that, I found the Zonite Waist Guard. This is how my 3 male wives dress when they bring me breakfast in bed. Speaking of 3 fairies, I found them on this oasis out here. Words cannot describe how useful these would have been in the last video. As I was flying above Zora's domain, the game triggered a panic blood moon. This happens the first time you visit one of the game's 4 regions. It might be hard to believe, but this is my first blood moon in over 40 hours of gameplay in these combined challenges. I've got quite a bit of collecting to do next time I go to the depths. I love Pocket Rocket and low gravity so much. They go together like bread and your favorite thing that you put on bread. I haven't really mentioned any of these crystal shrines since the first one because my solution pretty much handles all of them. Maybe it's more fun to do things the intended way. Nah, that's a load of hogwash. Let me just load up another Pocket Rocket. Whee! With 20 out of 28 shrines down, I'm starting to worry if this challenge is going to be interesting. Maybe there just isn't enough to do up here to justify a big hour-long challenge video. Welp, I'm 8 hours into playing and I'm not about to stop now. Time to double down. I was a little worried about this shrine that requires bullet time headshots, but I was actually able to use this little ledge to get just enough airtime. Finish the diving set and yas, we're putting Link back in Pride. I tried clipping into this second sky castle and for some reason I was enveloped in a black void. That normally doesn't happen. Turns out I had to drain the water first. Well, that's intuitive. This game needs to be more accessible to liars and cheats. Not having the paraglider made this maneuver incredibly awkward, but I managed to enter this Death Star and finish the Zonite armor set. This improves my battery consumption a shit ton when I'm wearing it, so I can basically fly forever. Well, alright guys. There's only 2 shrines left, and I've been avoiding them for a reason. The Thunderhead Isle is home to the final shrines in all of the sky, but they're guarded by an impenetrable wall of lightning. When I'm on the islands, I can't have any kind of metal equipped. That means Pocket Rocket is oot. So I'll be stuck with my feet again. As if that wasn't bad enough, there's a thick fog that covers the entire area until you complete a quest on the ground. That quest also requires the first 4 dungeons to even initiate. There's no way I'm able to do that without touching the ground. That means I'm stuck with 0 visibility for this. I went to the depths to gear up. This trial's gonna take every ounce of grit I've got. Maybe I'll get struck by lightning every 8 seconds and have to respawn. That would be terrible. I would hate that. Alrighty. I flew above the thundercloud and dropped down toward the general coordinates of the shrine. It's really foggy, so I'm gonna have to focus on what little I can see. I'm sure with enough trial and error, eventually I'll find— Ah! Oh, here it is. That took 17 seconds. Why did I spend an hour gathering supplies? Well, maybe the next one will be the real kicker. Nope, that took 5 minutes. Huh. I guess that's all 28 shrines. No, turn the music off. Jeez. I really thought this lightning area would take a bit more time. I had like a whole hour reserved just for this. That is definitely why the video was 90 minutes, by the way. Do not scrub through the footage to verify. What else is there to do up here? I could get all the Koroks, I guess, but does anyone really want to see that? I mean, I completed the 28 shrines. I guess I could upgrade Link a bit. Yeah, then I could get the Master Sword. I went to the Great Sky Island and talked to the goddess statue until I had a full second wheel of stamina. There was also enough for 1 more, so I figured I'd just grab another heart. Wait, only enough for 1 more? Aren't these supposed to be multiples of 4? I guess I missed one. We'll get it later. Now it's time to find Zelda. She's really high up until you watch all the memories, so I went to the highest point of the Great Sky Island and waited. And waited. For like 30 minutes. Would you like a time lapse? I'm tired of waiting. I'm using Find My iPhone on this bitch. Alright guys, cue the epic music. It's time for the emotional climax of this challenge, just as King Arthur drew the sword from the stone and became the rightful king of England. I too shall draw the sword from my furry girlfriend's skull and become true ruler of the sky! Okay, this sucks. None of this went how I wanted it to. I thought a sky challenge could be cool, but there just isn't enough shit to do up here. I did all the shrines, got every outfit, but it doesn't change the fact that this is boring. What else even is there? Well, there are 2 dungeons, the water and wind temples, but those require their respective sages, which are currently exercising their surface privilege. You can't complete the dungeons without the sages. It's just not possible with current knowledge. There are also 2 dungeons in the depths, but they have the same problem. And you know I can't beat the lightning temple. That bitch is on the ground. I feel cheated. You guys wanted a sky video and I wanted to give it to you. I spent 12 hours getting all this shit. Now the game's trying to blow me off. I won't stand for it. There's got to be more to do. I mean, what even is the sky? That's not a philosophical question either. What is the sky? I triggered the surface map about a mile off the ground earlier, and I also was considered on the surface in my last video. It seems to have something to do with the state Link is in. If you're free falling, you're good, but I obviously can't free fall on the ground. There's another thing that seems to consistently trigger it too, my hover bike. I had to be careful using this thing at the back end of the challenge because of how frequently it triggered the surface. I don't understand why, but the hover bike definitely has something to do with this. I tried riding it to the surface, but the map triggered well before I could get close, which is weird because the text normally doesn't appear until I hit the ground. What if I could prevent touching the ground and not be on my hover bike? This is stupid. It's gonna trigger the text. I'm so obviously on the ground right now. Oh my god. Oh my god, the sky map, it's in the floor is lava challenge! It's in the floor is lava challenge! Well then, I suppose this challenge is officially interesting. A whole boatload of content has just been opened up, so I should probably decide where I want to start. First of all, I'm amending the rules of the challenge a bit. Since I know I can move around the surface to some degree without triggering the Hyrule Kingdom text, I'll now make it law that I must keep the surface text off of my map for the entirety of the challenge. If I trigger it at any point, I have to revert to an old save. That means I can do whatever I want down here, so long as the game doesn't view me as grounded. I can hop between wings, so for now, that'll be my go-to method of travel. Beats walking, I guess. No, it doesn't. With the new ultimate rule of the challenge in place, I suppose there's only one more question to ask before we get started. What do we want to do? There might be a way to get in and out of shrines, but I've got my heart set on something bigger. I want to beat a dungeon. There are 5 to choose from, and all of them require the surface to some degree. That means we'll have to come up with some creative workarounds, but when has that ever stopped me? Before we make our way to any dungeons, there is one thing I've been meaning to do for the last 45 hours or so. I want the paraglider. It's cute, it's useful, I want it. I know I have a bunch of ways to get around without it. I know it's impressive how much I've managed to do without it, but seriously, fuck all of that. I'm sick of being an inspiration. I want something to be easy for once. Besides, the paraglider's on the surface, so this will be a helpful trial run, right? The quest begins at Lookout Landing, so let's head that way. Now's a good time to mention how much it sucks trying to do anything on the surface in a challenge like this. As we learned in the last video, Link's position is only saved if he's in a grounded state on a piece of solid natural collision. Zonai devices don't count. That means if I save on a wing down there, I'll still be sent back to the last piece of ground I stood on. So every time I mess up and have to revert to my last save, I'll be sent back up to the sky. That means it's best to find a sky island as close to your real destination as possible. Luckily, there's an island about 30 seconds from Lookout Landing that'll work perfectly for this. With all that in mind, let's go to Lookout Landing. I can't just jump down, so I need to land a wing pretty close to the telescope, which is harder than it looks. This time I put a steering stick on my wing. That That gives me way more control, but it might count as a vehicle now? Huh. I guess not. I'm infuriated, but relieved. I need to start this cutscene without touching the ground, which is pretty simple. The tricky part is what happens next. After the cutscene, my wings are automatically moved to a safe distance. As far as I can tell, this happens every time. Okay, so this is already the worst thing that could ever happen. If I'm going to be put on the ground no matter what, I guess the challenge isn't possible. Well, that's where you're wrong. You see, the win condition of this challenge is extremely simple. It doesn't matter if your stupid human eyes think I'm on the ground. All that matters is what the game's beautiful programming thinks. If I can somehow get off the ground or warp away before the game realizes what I'm doing, I should be able to get away with murder. And by murder, I mean loitering. So, what are my options? Well, the game autosaves after speaking to Pura. What if it's as simple as closing the program on the Switch menu? Yeah, I didn't expect that to work. What if I made the game lag as soon as the dialogue ended? Causing large amounts of lag is pretty simple actually, but it's tricky to do straight out of a cutscene. Let me introduce you to Zuggling. Zuggling is technically banned in this challenge, but only because it can output a huge amount of damage. If it could be useful for lag, I might be willing to allow it just for that. The glitch involves standing against a wall so you can't drop any of your gear. Once you're set up, you open the map on your rune menu and mash the weapon select button during the bit of lag between menus. Unequip the weapon in your hands and open the menu again. Equip something else and then close the menu. Since we told the game to open up the map, it'll do that as soon as we're done interrupting it. From the map, open your equipment screen and manually unequip the new item. Once you do this, the game forgets that you tried to drop the original item, but also forgets that you were supposed to unequip it. That leaves the item in your hands even if you have something else equipped. You can do this as many times as you want, and each weapon is fully functional. That means you could Zuggle 10 swords and kill most enemies in a single hit, which is still banned to keep things interesting. But if I Zuggle multiple ice spears and use them all at once, I'm able to cause quite a bit of lag. Okay, I seem to have Zuggled so much that Link is just T-posing. That's a promising sign. What if I just try Okay, this is not what I was going for, but is officially the greatest accomplishment of my life. It seems like I can really mess the game up with Zuggling. Hopefully it'll be enough. I Zuggled a ton of spears and used them to generate a huge amount of lag right before I started the cutscene. It's a long shot, but here goes nothing. It didn't work. Obviously, I'm an idiot for thinking that would work. Nobody look at me, I'm a fraud. Come on, there's gotta be a way to do this. Think like a speedrunner. No. Think like a glitch hunter. What prompts the Hyrule Kingdom text to appear in the first place? It's Link's location data, right? Wait a minute. Isn't there a way to get the game to stop tracking your position data? It's a glitch called Guardless Active Shield, or GAS, and it allows the Zonai device on your shield to be active at all times. An odd side effect of this glitch is that the game stops tracking your respawn position. It also stops auto-saving. Very promising. I went ahead and set the glitch up with a fan shield. See how it's still spinning? Now it's time to head to Lookout Landing. One very strange effect of this glitch is that the air current appears to actually affect my gliding speed. I'm moving further and faster than I could even with a paraglider right now. Maybe I don't need it. Just kidding. I want it more than I've ever wanted anything. I dove into the ground with a fairy, checked my map, and no surface. I spoke to Joshua as fast as I could and started the cutscene. The fan was still spinning after the cutscene, so that's a good sign. Here we go. God damn it! Well, the game didn't autosave, but it sure put the surface on my map. I spent an hour learning how to do this glitch, and it didn't even work. At this point, I was pretty much done. I've been trying things for hours, but somehow felt even further from a solution than when I started. I wanted to do this because no challenge YouTuber had done it before, but maybe there's a reason they haven't. Maybe it's not possible. In my depths video, I set out to do something impressive, but obviously attainable. I mean, I was thrilled to figure it out on my own, yeah, but I knew someone somewhere had to already know how to do it. With this, it's starting to seem genuinely impossible. I told myself I could try for 10 hours. That's it. I've got a full-time job, and I can't really justify spending much more time on something this hopeless. Across 2 play sessions, I never found anything even remotely promising. So that's it then. I'm giving up on solving this alone. I joined the Tears of the Kingdom speedrunning Discord. I sent out a public request for help, asking anybody if they had any idea how to do this. As far as I know, gas should prevent it because the game doesn't know where you are. Shit! Gas can't be the only answer. It doesn't work! A few other people gave some suggestions, but just none of it looked promising. Is that just it then? These guys are the best of the best. If they can't figure out a way to do this, we're fucked. Just when I was about to call it quits, I got pinged by a user named Robuxy2nd. It was just 5 words. 5 simple words that shaped the entire challenge. Recall lock is your friend. Recall lock? What even is that? I looked it up, but couldn't find anything useful. That's when Robuxy was enough of a lad to send me a tutorial. Okay, so he fuses the spring to his shield, then it bounces away. Now he's recalling it. Then he reloads his save. What is... Oh my god! Recall lock is exactly what the doctor ordered. The process is much simpler than you'd think. First, you fuse entangle an object with your shield. I've actually been to grad school since the last video, so let me explain fuse entanglement. Essentially, you try to fuse something to an item. The moment it fuses, either unequip or swap the item with something else. This will fuse the object to the item, but also leave it on the ground. Fuse entanglement is how I get pocket rockets, so I'm pretty familiar with everything up to this point. After using fuse entanglement on my shield, I need to zuggle that shield to make things even more complicated. Now that the object is entangled with the shield, I put it where I want with Ultra Hand. Once it's there, I use recall on the entangled object and revert to my last save. I'll just let the result speak for itself. It's still there. If you recall lock an object, it persists even through cutscenes or reloading save files. I spawned right on top of the wing with no issue. You see what this means, right? I bolted to Lookout Landing and started setting up the glitch. It was a little messy, especially since I couldn't touch the ground. But eventually I got fuse entanglement on a wing. What wall am I supposed to zuggle against? It turns out wings are multi-purpose. I used 2 of them to form a portable wall. Once I zuggled the shield, it was as simple as clearing the excess wings and placing the entangled object in just the right spot. I locked it in place and loaded my save. Recall lock comes with several complications. If I use fuse at any point, the entangled object will actually despawn. That means I can't pocket rocket back to Lookout Landing. I had to use my hover bike, which is horrifying since it triggers the surface half the time. Once I was close enough to the landing, I ditched my bike and hoped for good news. Oh my god, it's still there. I landed on the wing and started the cutscene. This is it. It has to be. Wait, what? Where's the wing? No, this is supposed to work. It was there. Recall lock is supposed to keep it there, even through cutscenes. God damn it. If even that didn't work, what am I supposed to... Ah! Oh my god. I have control. I opened the map. Look, no surface. I did it. I actually did it. The wing was called for the cutscene, but the moment it ended, the game remembered it was supposed to be there. Since Link and the wing were trying to occupy the same space, it threw me across the deck. Since I wasn't in a grounded state, the surface didn't load. I'm out of here. Sweet, sweet Sky. How I've missed you. We did it. We took hours of experimenting and a Hail Mary from a Discord savior, but we actually went and did it. And by it, I mean the first part of the first quest that doesn't even directly lead to a dungeon. Shit. That's okay though, because now we have a strategy. I took a wing to Hyrule Castle and spent some time setting up my next recall lock. Yeesh, this is definitely wasteful. After a short flight back, there it is. The most annoying part of this is guessing where to leave the wing. It usually involves failing once and then putting the wing where it needs to be for a second attempt. Zelda, what are you doing on the ground? Get out of there, baby girl, it's not safe! Oh, okay. See ya. Once again, the wing appeared to be missing, but the second I gained control, I was able to open the map and warp away. I should mention at this point that recall locking does incidentally duplicate the shield I zuggled, but I leave the clone on the ground every time. The spirit of my duplication ban is to prevent me from farming infinite resources, so if I don't keep the duplication, I'd say it's fair game.
We're not gonna make it!
We'll make it.
Pull up! Pull up! You did that on purpose, didn't you?
The next conversation doesn't despawn my wing, so I didn't even have to lock it. Alrighty, here I am on my wing. Now we just talk to Pura and god damn it. Okay, I locked a wagon in place. We should be all good. You don't understand the relief I felt when that wagon was still there after the cutscene. Now all I have to do is activate the terminal. Activate the terminal. Shit. It seems we've run into another problem. The cart is too high to interact with the terminal. That's okay. Let me just... wait. What? Oh my god. Oh my god. We're good? We're good. We're good. We're good. We are not good. We are not good. We're good. We're good. Move. Okay, no, that's fine. You know, maybe the problem was the cart. The cart is just a little big. It's a little big, but you know what's not very big is this steering stick right here. Just a little stick. And oh my god, turn it on now. I can't believe it. Hours. That took so many hours. But I did it. No surface. Oh my god, just look at it. I did it. I beat walking. The paraglider and pocket rocket go together like bread and your favorite object that you put on bread. I have so many options. There's nothing standing in my way now. With this, I've proven you can brush shoulders with the surface and live to tell the tale. I've got my eyes on a much bigger target now. I'm going to beat a dungeon. I've got 5 dungeons to choose from, so what do I do first? I think out of all of them, the Spirit Temple definitely seems like the easiest. We've actually been working toward it this whole time. Before you can wake Minoru and take her to the Construct Factory, you need the Regional Phenomena quest, which is rewarded after activating the first Skyview Tower. We've already done most of the work for that. All we need now is to launch out of the tower. I was wondering whether or not you'd even be able to launch out of the tower with a cart on the platform, but it turns out that won't even be necessary. I dove right through the tower's shaft and landed on the platform. It takes the surface about half a second to load, so I was able to activate the cutscene before that happened. Would you look at that? Now this is a sky challenge. As fun as that was, I don't really need to activate any of the other towers. Maybe we'll save that for the third video. I fell right back down to Lookout Landing and spoke to Pura one more time to activate the quest. Felicitations, land dwellers! I am a messenger of the heavens! And there we go. Now let's head back to the Thunderhead. The game definitely wants you to beat the first 4 dungeons before discovering Minoru, but she becomes active as soon as you unlock the Regional Phenomena quest. There's a second soft check preventing you from accessing her in the form of this massive door. It requires 10 hearts to open, so you can tell they really wanted you to play the game for a few hours before doing this temple. I only have 5 hearts right now. I guess I could try to wriggle my way into a couple surface shrines, but that would be tricky. Wait, I could clip through walls. Robot Mommy has been sleeping here for an undisclosed amount of time. She's not a morning person, so we're gonna have to help her through her morning routine. The first step is taking her to the surface, so I stuck a light root to her mask and used auto build cancel to turn her into a Polly Pocket. Get it? Cause she's portable. I don't need your approval. I make these videos for me. Do not pay attention to this footage. That is Link's stunt double standing on the ground. I never asked him to do something this dangerous. See, there was a wing there the whole time. We just edited that out in post. Classic cinema trick. After this, I had to warp away to avoid the ground, and I love how Link just drops Minoru like she's yesterday's news. I was worried she might disappear, but when I flew back, she was right where I left her. Oh, sorry, babe. I wish I could say the next part went smoothly, but I ended up awkwardly shuffling my way down this ramp for the better part of 5 minutes. I was nervous, okay? Minoru's watching. And click. Oh my god, it's happening. And here we are at the Construct Factory. When I first came here in the last video, I told you this was impossible. Now we're here on the same file and we're doing it. That's so exciting. I'm having character development. You're not ready for how big my boobs are going to be in Season 5. The Construct Factory itself is really simple. You just need to grab Minoru 4 body parts from their respective departments. You can walk in just fine, but as soon as you summon the limb, you're locked inside. The only way out is through, and now you have to lug around this limb. Lucky for us, auto build cancel works on these too, so I'm able to just pocket rocket through. I wish there was anything to say about this dungeon, but it was super simple. Barely an inconvenience. 10 minutes and 4 limbs later, we've activated the furry bot. Oh, Karen, my computer wife. I got a good plankton. I forgot how much Minoru sucks. I tried to fight some bokoblins and died miserably. I hate it down here. Does anybody have an hour-long video about surviving down here? I need tips and tricks. You know what I always found weird? Why is it only called the Spirit Temple when you reach the boss arena? I think the Construct Factory probably should have just been called the Spirit Temple right from the start. I remember thinking this was quite the long side quest and actually getting a little annoyed by it on my first playthrough. Was that just a me thing? Maybe I'm crazy, but I think calling it a temple would have helped. Alright, seized Construct. You might have crushed my spirits in the last video, but now I've got heavy artillery. It's time to show you who the real champion of the depths is. Alright, now wait. How do you, hang on, I think it's this, whoa, okay, hang on, time out, no! That was a little embarrassing, but you've used your one mulligan, Construct. Wha! 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 Hell yeah! Just a few more of those, and then we can, he's got a gun! Oh yeah, this is gonna be real embarrassing for you, Robot. Haven't you ever heard the age-old saying, third time's the what even happened? I was holding it down, I swear. God damn it. How is this harder than last time? Okay, I figured it out. I died every possible way there is, and I've solved it. Start the fight off with a cannon to the face. Bitches love cannons to the face. Hit it 3 times into the barrier. That's the first strike. Move to the other side of the arena and wait for it to land on your left or right. Stun it with another cannon shot. Bitches love another cannon shot. Strike 2, let it jump to the middle. Bitches love cannons. Strike 3, what are you doing? No, what is that? You've never done this, stop. Oh, gross, oh my God. Strike 4. Phase 2 is just the same. Bitches. Strike 5, swap for new cannon. Bitches love new cannons. Strike 6, maidens in Daunt trebuchets. Strike 7, and you're out of here. Strike 8, that's a baseball. I don't want to talk about how long that took. Let's just go back to me being cool and funny. That's dungeon number 1. It seemed impossible even a few hours ago, but somehow I pulled it off. When I first started brainstorming this sky challenge, I told myself I'd only do it if I could beat a dungeon. Just one. That alone seemed undoable since they all require quests on the surface. But now that I've got the taste for blood, I'm not satisfied. I want more. There's 3 more dungeons that aren't on the surface. The water, wind, and fire temples. I should be able to do them all, right? But all 3 of them require quite a bit more time on the surface before I get the sages into the dungeon. The Spirit Temple was just a trial run. Things start getting real from here. Out of all my current options, Tulin is definitely the most appealing. His gust of wind is always helpful, but for this challenge, I definitely need all the airtime I can get. I flew to Rito Village, and wow, we're already off to an amazing start. We need to chat with the Robinsons before we can start the Wind Temple's quest. Hey, over here! That's not working. I set up recall lock and put the wing right where Link ends up after the cutscene. And there it is! I love it when things are simple. The Eaglesons are arguing about Tulin's attitude when Link rudely walks in on them. We get to awkwardly stand there for a whole 2 minutes before he storms off. Now all we gotta do is follow him. Wait, what? Where's the wing? This isn't even like with Lookout Landing where it was tossed aside somewhere. It's just gone. In fact, it was so deleted that even my Zuggled shield isn't a wing shield anymore. That's never happened. I tried it again with the wing a little further back and elevated on this railing. Hopefully that'll send Link flying again. Nope, it's gone. What is happening? The wing is supposed to be locked in place. You can't just change the rules in the middle of a challenge. Okay, no, get that off screen. Maybe the wing is too big? Let's try with a cart instead. Okay, there it is. The cart's gone too? No, come on, no! Does everything just get culled during this cutscene? Why? Why here and not Lookout Landing? In a moment of desperation, I tried it with a steering stick. Yep, okay, this is fucked. What am I supposed to do? I need to watch this cutscene to get Tulin, but these goofballs keep unloading my devices. If the cutscene is always going to put me on the ground, what options do I even have? Well, maybe, let's just try another dungeon for now. Zora's domain is covered in this weird goop, and we can't get Sidon to follow us until he knows where it's coming from. Since looking up isn't an option, we're gonna have to take the long way. I spoke to him from the safety of my wing, but the damn cutscene moved me. You know what? I'm getting tired of this shit. You're lucky I'm this attracted to you, Sidon, otherwise I'd just move on to the Fire Temple. It looks like the wing despawned, but it actually appeared on screen there for a few frames and let me jump off of it. Quest initiated! Meeting the homewrecker trying to come between me and Sidon was easy enough, and I even caught her to facing the statue of me riding him in town square. After recall locking a wing, I jumped right off and warped back to the sky. I'm definitely getting better at parking these things, but I still have a long way to go. Okay, this time I wasn't put on my wing, but mashing the jump button seems to have worked? So you can jump away if it's fast enough? I don't know, seems unreliable. I'm gonna keep recall locking wherever I can. I discovered that if you stand on the tail of a wing, it'll basically fall straight down. Eventually it dips, but you can just use recall again to reset its speed. Oh, sorry Muzu. This time I ended up right on the locked wing, which is always nice. I really like this puzzle. You know, just think it's neat. I don't have a joke for this. Just a vulnerable moment where I share something genuine with you. Be gentle with my heart. It's in your hands. What's up, bitches? Before I can get Sidon to come on me with me to the sky, I need to defeat this sludge-like. This is a serious problem, as it's our first real battle on the surface. I took a quick look at my coordinates. It's not too far from where I landed initially. This will be pretty simple. What's up, bitches? Bitches. Oh, there we go. I was holding my breath before the fight started. There was no wing, so I jumped and tried to warp away. Yeah, didn't think that would work. Somehow the wing reappeared and yeeted Sidon into the Shadow Realm. I landed right on its nose. Holy crap, I can't believe that worked. Okay, my first goal was to lay down some wiggle room to work with. I put down an additional wing and dodged a few of the sludge attacks. I almost killed the thing outright, but we both know things are never that simple. The recall locked wing was not playing well with the other wings I laid down. I was almost done though. That's when I accidentally triggered a hilarious physics exploit. You guys remember bullet time bounces in Breath of the Wild? Those work because the game operates on a slightly different set of physics when you're in bullet time. The most noteworthy difference is the rate that objects are thrown when hit by something. When I leapt off of my wing and entered bullet time, the recall-locked wing continued clashing with the other wings I'd placed on top of it. Now with the added force of bullet time, it was able to throw all of the wings off of it at once, knocking me onto the ground. I don't know what's more frustrating, the fact that that happened at all, or that I knew better and still let it happen. I reset the fight, and this time Sidon wasn't immediately launched off the mountain, so that's a good start. This time I was way more patient. I laid down more than enough wings to dodge the sludge-like attacks and fought it from a distance. There we go! Perfect! Now where's the game gonna put me? Uh-oh! I was worried this would happen. Through some divine pity, I was able to mash the jump and map button and bring up the warp screen without the surface. It seems like this can be a pretty consistent way of getting off the ground if my timing is immaculate. Speaking of good timing, I'm pretty sure this chest was about to blow out my back if I didn't warp away. Alright, that's the big fight over and done, but there's one more thing that might be a problem before Sidon and I can go on our honeymoon. I landed a wing and started the next part of the quest. I need to jump into that whirlpool and clear a mini challenge down there before we can start the water temple. This was probably the most unnerving step of the entire Zora area for me, because I don't have any control of where I'm going to land. Here goes nothing. Oh, this is perfect. As you might be able to guess, the floor is lava only refers to the floor, not water. Water's not lava, otherwise it'd just become rock, which is floor. So lava and water make floor, but water and lava just make water. Or is it stone? I haven't played Minecraft in years. Since I'm in the water, I've got just enough mobility to make something happen. I hoped I would just be able to drop a few wings onto the staircase, but life is never easy. You can climb these walls, but those just lead to more solid ground. Unless... I warped back to the sky and set up Pocket Rocket. After diving into the whirlpool, I swim to the back wall and climb up a few feet. The rock is slippery, so I'm basically at the game's mercy when it comes to falling off. Once I have enough height, I jump away from the wall by pressing X and down on the analog stick. This sends Link in the right direction, and I quickly start pocket rocketing to gain height. Whew! I love this game! After flailing around for a bit, I activate the terminal and am warped back to the surface. There's another terrifying jump before warping away, but it seems like mashing the jump button is a pretty good strategy. That's officially the last part on the ground for the water temple. Everything from here takes place in the sky, which is a massive relief. You're technically supposed to get the Zora armor from Yona, but I have a way better way of getting height. Here we are, the water temple. This is basically just a playground for low gravity and pocket rocket. Just like with the Construct Factory, I don't really have much to say about the water temple itself. The real dungeon was getting Sidon up here in the first place when you really think about it. Yeah, I definitely forget how to get into that fire room, so I'm just gonna fall below the temple, summon a wing, and ascend through the floor. I'm sure this is the stupid, hard way to get in here, but I am stupid and hard. And that's the 5th terminal. Let's move on with our lives. Muktarok isn't even a boss. I'm pretty sure he just lives up here. Well, lived. And that's dungeon number 2. We're making great time. Screw just beating 1 or 2. I'm gonna beat all the dungeons that aren't on the surface. Nothing's gonna stop me now. After chatting with King Zora, I mashed the jump button and got out of there before the surface realized what was going on. I guess all there is left to do is head back to the Rito village with everything we've learned. I gave up on starting Tulin's quest because my recall lock devices kept despawning. Since then, I've learned you can actually just jump and warp away if you're extremely quick. I actually did this before giving up last time. When I jumped and opened my menu in this clip, the map was still on the sky. Since I wasn't looking for it back then, I unpaused and let Link hit the ground. And now that I know it's possible, I just have to do it again. Wow, I am getting much better at parking. The Peacocksons are still arguing about Tulin's nasty tude, even though it's been like 3 days now. I tried to jump away, and damn it. I'm sure this looks really easy from your armchair, but I have to mash the jump button and recognize that Link has left the ground with enough time to press select and open the map. On flat ground, Link's jump puts him in the air for exactly 13 frames. The game runs at 30 FPS, so that gives us a window of just over 0.4 seconds to press the map button. From the tests I conducted, there isn't enough time to realize I closed the map and open it again before Link hits the ground. That means I need to time my map input, not mash it, and this is at the tail end of a boring cutscene that takes about 90 seconds and requires 2 whole minutes of travel to even reach every time. What I'm saying is, mathematically, this is really fucking stupid and hard. There's a reason I'm still using recall lock whenever possible. It took me 20 minutes to finally nail the timing and warp away. And let me tell you, I was seriously tilting by that point. I'm used to streaming dumb shit like this, and the audience participation really makes things a lot less frustrating along the way. Since I like to keep these challenges a surprise, I don't stream them, meaning that the gameplay is a much more laid back and personal experience. Even though I successfully started the Tulin quest, I was still too pissed to keep going. I went shopping instead. It always calms my nerves. Buy my gemstones, you feathered hooligan. They mean nothing to me. With the money I got from those useless precious stones, I bought some practical winter gear. I'll need these for the Wind Temple. We're not doing the Wind Temple right now, though. I'm going off script. Woo! I'm running really low on a few important resources, namely bows. I think an hour in the depths will help clear my head, too. The sky won't seem so bad afterward. This Lionel roughed me up, but he didn't realize my man Sidon was watching from the sidelines. Before I could even react, Sidon chased the bastard down and killed it. For I was his queen, and God help anyone who disrespected his queen. I gaslit, gatekept, and girl-bossed this Lionel into giving up his bow. Then Sidon and I power-coupled another one into submission. I'm doing my best to hunt all the respawned Lionels back into extinction after that blood moon from Chapter 1. Blood moons don't happen in the sky either, so this is basically my one chance. Maybe I should have stated this clearly in the depths video, but I am aware it's possible to force blood moons. It's not explicitly banned in my rule set, but it's also not something I want to do unless there's a valid reason. And to everyone who suggested it was an easy solution to the last video's resource scarcity, I want to remind you that it takes 5 to 6 opals per blood moon, and without item duplication, I have no idea where you guys are getting enough of those things to reliably trigger blood moons in the depths. More power to you, though. After redoing the Lionel Coliseum, I'm pretty much set on Savage Lionel bows. Sidon and I were beating this guy so relentlessly, he had to wriggle between dimensions to escape. And with that, I have 4 brand new Sea Breeze shields. Sometimes I ask myself if I should just allow item duplication, since you guys don't really see these hours of grinding I do. But I know it's the right thing to do. Builds character, or something. My last stop for now is visiting the Construct Factory and farming some more rockets. Pocket rocket up, and we are out of here! Now, where was I? Oh yeah, more Flora's lava shit. This game has a pretty liberal definition of the sky, not gonna lie. How'd you guys build this cabin in the sky? Is it a tree house? I'm being way too negative. I think it's the fumes down here. Tulin's located on this little peak, so let's talk him off the ledge. Not that ledges are like a threat to him, he can fly. When you kill this Aracuda, the Tulin surface battle begins. To my surprise, you're actually totally free to warp away from this one. Tulin has a bit of dialogue asking where you could possibly be going, but he lets you warp away. Why didn't Sidon? That dog, he was just being needy. I was able to fly back down on my own time and deliver an aerial strike. Poor bastards never knew what hit them. Good job holding them off while I ran to the bomb shop, Tulin. Also, I know it literally doesn't matter since I was entering a cutscene anyway, but landing right on my wing after that is just mwah! What pride flag is your shoulder fluff supposed to be, Hearth? Tulin's a cool guy, so after this fight, we're allowed to warp right to the sky, no problem. It's not like failing this 0.5 second reaction jump would have forced me to do all of that over again. And once again, we have the Sage in the Sky. That's the main business of the Wind Temple over and done with. Is there anything noteworthy during the dungeon itself? I guess not, because my actual notes skip right to the end of it. Maybe I can improv a bit? I like the Wind Temple. I enjoy the symbols and artwork of the Rito, generally speaking. Kogera is much more fun with a paraglider. If my Patreon reaches $100 a month, I'll beat Colgira using the dive method with only Pocket Rocket and no paraglider. Links in the description. That's dungeon number 3. Looks like this is becoming easy, almost formulaic. You might as well just click away now. There's no way the remaining dungeons are gonna give me any trouble at all. Wait, is that Unibo with the steel chair? Unibo's a fucking freak! Sometime between games, he's gone from sweet, gullible little kid to a cold-hearted drug lord. When was the moment Unibo became Heisenberg? I don't even have time to give the whole Death Mountain intro. You want to know how I spoke to the chief? I landed on a wing. Fascinating. Back to Unibo. What's wrong with you? After talking to him in the village, you confront Unibo in this cave. I spoke to his goons for entry and then made my way inside. This guy can smell an intervention coming from a mile away, so he immediately gets aggressive with me. Alrighty, I can't warp away, but that's to be expected. This dude's not a pushover like Tulin. If I have to stick around, I can do what I did with the sludge-like battle and recall lock a wing. There we go. Now I can just fly inside, land on the wing, and... No, it can't be. This scene calls my devices too? No! I refuse to accept that! If I can't jump and warp away, and I can't lock a device, what other option is there? What if I jumped as soon as the fight began and landed on a newly summoned wing? Okay, that's the jump. Now drop a wing, and... yeah, that's not gonna work. My few frames of grace are already necessary to get off the ground the first time. I can't land and then jump again to get on the wing. Well, fuck! What am I supposed to do? My big freak out was supposed to be at the start of the video to shake things up. I don't want to go back to the Discord. What if they think I'm a loser? No. I can solve this. I can figure it out. I will figure it out. All I have is enough time for a single jump. There isn't even enough time to start walking forward. What can I do with one neutral jump input? I tried jump slashing, but if you jump in place, it'll always send you straight down. I can start a shield surf, but it just puts me right back on the ground. Still, it's my best lead so far. What if I fuse a cart to my shield? Well, that just puts me on the cart for a few frames, and then I hit the ground. Don't panic, this is good. We've confirmed I can at least shield jump. What else can I fuse to my shield to get off the ground? Wing shields boost the height you get from shield jumping. That puts me in the air longer, but doesn't save me from my inevitable doom. With some really precise inputs, you can actually enter bullet time from a neutral jump wing shield surf, but once again, that only delays the inevitable. I need to get some forward momentum so I can land on a new Zonai device. Forward momentum. What about a rocket shield? Nope. You'd really think so, but apparently not. Not from a neutral jump, at least. In a hand-cramping string of movements, I managed to get a shield surf with a wing, switch to bullet time, then swap to a rocket shield. This lets me move a few feet, but it won't get me onto a wing. Maybe I shouldn't be thinking horizontally. What if I could get higher? There are bomb flowers, but those explode instantly in extreme heat. Is there anything else in the game that gives you a jump like bombs? Oh my god. Springs are in. I love them, and I don't care what any of you think. They're really cheap from dispensers, and they saved my life. Springs are like bomb flowers, but they don't explode instantly in hot areas. From a neutral jump, you can shield land on a spring and get more than enough airtime to summon and land on a wing. Oh, it's go time. I flew back down to Unibo with a spring on my back, ready to settle the score. And... damn it. Yeah, reaction jumping is still really hard. Remember how I outlined everything that sucks about reaction jumping and warping away in the last chapter? Well, this is the same thing, but with more steps. Instead of reacting to my jump and opening the map with a single button, I have to shield surf in place. That's twice the amount of inputs in the same narrow window of time. And you bet it takes about 2 minutes of traveling cutscenes between every attempt. Isn't life just great? All right, let's just try it again, and goddamn it. Try again, and come on! Try again and... Muscle memory, stop opening the map, Snaps! Try again and... Oh my god! Hang on, come on, wing, drop a wing! Oh, I did it! I started the fight without the surface, but I'm on fucking fire, and I can't move! It's okay, calm down. I can splash myself with water. That gives you 20 seconds of immunity to fire damage. I can also lay down some more wings, and then we can see what we're dealing with here. Unibo's invincible with gamer rage until he's stunned. The only way to stun him is by having him run into a wall with his Goron charge. The problem is he can also crash right into my wings, but those don't stun him. So I have to jump between two wings and get him to charge at me, miss me and both wings, and have him hit the wall instead. Cool. Super easy and cool. Let me just... Dude! Not cool. What'd I ever do to you? Dick. That's fine. We can just try again. And... No! I don't like it. Try again. That wasn't fast enough? Yes, dear. Try again, and... What's wrong with me? I'm a broken person, functionally unlovable. I can't even reaction shield land fast enough. Unibo. Be my unibro. Fucking knock it off. Not fast enough. Here we go. Oh my god, that worked! I got it again! It only took another 20 goddamn minutes, but I got it! Landed on a wing, splashed myself with water. Okay, I need an actual plan. Let's spread some wings around and give us some room to work with. Can you ramp him off of a wing? Nah, that'd be too fun. How the hell am I supposed to juke this guy when I have to stay on these wings? What? Why did that work? Nice kitty. Come here. Yes! That's two! Only one more to go! Okay, what do we got? How do we do this? What if I pocket rocketed toward a wall to kind of bait him? It's no good. I've just somehow put him in a wing prison. Let's just move these. Nice kitty. Just... Oh my god! I'm okay! And he ramped right into the wall? I did it! Oh my god. That was such a pain in the ass, but it's over! The fake Zelda caves us in, and now Unibo's on our side. Now all I have to do is warp away. Warp away. No! I'm still stuck here? What am I supposed to do? If I can't warp away, I guess I need a second spring shield? And to equip it before the fight ends. That would have been helpful to know. Guess all I can do is revert and try again, and again, and again, and again. Go for an IRL walk because I'm so angry, and then try again, and again, and again. Go talk to my roommate about how bullshit this is, then try again. I almost had it this time, but then I fused the wing I was standing on to my shield instead of the rocket. Are you kidding me? Dormammu, I've come to bargain. You drive a hard bargain, Dormammu. All right, pocket rocket to lure him into a wall. He's dizzy. Now just fuse a spring to your shield and shoot him down. Yes! Fucking... Oh, finally! It took another hour of grinding, but I got him! Don't miss the jump, don't miss the jump, don't miss the jump, don't miss the jump, and yes! Oh, okay, land on a wing, break the boulder, and... Oh, thank Christ. Now I just have to land one more jump and this nightmare will be over. Yes, I got the jump! That's right, game! You won't beat me! I'm the gamer! I fucking did it! So that was step one of Unibo. The next step is fighting this giant rock monster on Death Mountain Summit, because why not? At least Unibo was polite enough to meet us up here. I hopped across a few wings and started the cutscene. There are these 3 snake heads we need to eviscerate, but that should be easy enough. This is even an aerial battle by design. The game is finally going easy on me. I landed a reaction spring jump right at the start of the fight, and we're in business! It was a close call, but I managed to land on the fan plane you're supposed to use for the fight. That's not gonna work. Let's just move it closer with Ultra Hand. Here we are, in the sky and kicking ass! I'm sorry. What? I've seen some silly programming in this video, but in what reality am I on the surface right now? No. This is BS. It doesn't make any sense. I need to use this vehicle to fight Moragia. It's designed to be fought this way. Unibo only launches off of vehicles, and it's not like I can fight this thing with my fists. Why is this contraption triggering the surface text? Oh, the fans. It has to be. Think about it. My hover bike triggers the text too. It is just 2 fans and a steering stick. Earlier in the video, I made a wing with 2 wheels and a stick, and that didn't do it either. Fans are the only common denominator. I can't use any devices if they have a fan attached. Well, understanding the problem is not the same as solving it. I knew therapy was a scam. Now I have to take what I've learned and figure out the solution on my own, which definitely isn't therapy. If I can't use fans, maybe I can use rockets. No clue what I'll do after the first strike, but here we go! Yeah, that's about right. At least I discovered this molten rock isn't considered the surface, so guess we can hang out here for as long as we want. Now that I've built this genius device, though, I can summon it anytime with auto build. Here we go! Well, I could still sell the patent to Tesla. That's it. I'm sick of vehicles. Pooey on all of them. I don't need them. I set up Pocket Rocket and got to work. There's an invisible barrier that ends the fight if you go too far, so I have to stay close to the summit. After gaining height, I turn to Moragia and rocket over. What's my plan for Unibo? I've been doing it the whole video. Puff, 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 wing. Unibo recognizes the airborne wing as a vehicle and appears in the nick of time, and that's head number 1. I abandon ship and turn to the second head. It fires some rocks at me, but I don't blink. That's 2. Here we go. Smile, you son of a bitch. Ha! And stay dead, you scamp! Woo! That ruled. Would you believe me if I told you that only took 1 try? I guess I am going through character development. Time to dive into the mountain and... Wait a minute. Oh, you mother... It's the fire area again, but I still haven't bought the Flamebreaker set. I know how to survive in the fire area these days. The best way is to use Sidon's water ability. It gives you like 30 seconds of immunity to the heat, and you can refresh it before the effect wears off. If you want to hear more about this, check out my video reviewing your terrible TOTK fire remedies. What were we doing down here? Oh yeah, the fire temple. I mean, it took 10 minutes. What do you expect? The real dungeon was the Unibo I fought along the way. I do really like this temple with Pocket Rocket though. You can land on a wing right in front of the gong and have Unibo slam into them. It is really satisfying to pull off. But yeah, didn't take any time at all. I even skipped the Flamebreaker set to make it a little more interesting, and we're still already done talking about it. Wow, I guess that's settled then. I set out to beat the 4 dungeons that weren't on the surface, and I did it. Unibo might have taken me a few hours, but that's an honorable climax to such a difficult challenge, right? What even is there to do from here? I mean, there is one more dungeon, the Lightning Temple, but that's on the surface. It wouldn't be as simple as completing the Sage quest and spiriting them away to safety. I'd be on the ground the whole time, even during the boss. Do you think that's possible? Only one more. The Lightning Temple is the only dungeon in Tears of the Kingdom that's located on the game's surface map. If I had to guess why, I'd say it's probably because every dungeon in the game takes up a real amount of space on the world map. It's not like older Zelda games where you descended into some loading zone and then appeared in a totally new map. Every dungeon in this game needs to be put somewhere, and the desert was pretty much the only candidate from Breath of the Wild's map with enough room to comfortably place a temple. We should thank our lucky stars there weren't more vacant parking lots in Breath of the Wild. Otherwise, we'd probably have 3 or 4 more surface dungeons to worry about. 1 is definitely enough for me. So, where do we even start? I guess we could just find the closest Sky Island to Gerudo Town and save our place. I'd like to get closer than this, but there really aren't that many islands in this region. It'll have to do. I don't know what challenges we're gonna face down there, but it's a fair assumption we'll need this spring. The town looks abandoned, but they're all actually just hanging out underground. That's a big problem for someone who can't touch the ground. I parked out back, but I gotta get up there somehow. I used a staircase of wings to reach the seal statue. Okay, what now? I need to get into the underground oasis, but there needs to be something to catch me when I get there. I moved the seal and dropped a cart down the hole. It took me a solid minute to get these devices lined up for a safe drop, but I'm just about ready to give it a go. Alright, I'm in. I gotta tell you, the sky looks pretty weird today. I've gotta use carts to get around this tunnel because it's way too narrow for wings. And there's another hole. I feel like a gopher. Let me just cram a cart through this hole. They definitely know I'm up here now. How am I supposed to get close enough to the hole to drop down? That's not ideal. Yeah, I mean, screw it. That might as well be what I go with. Just gotta... Oh! Still not the ground. Check the minimap. Man, getting clocked in public sucks. We've officially started the Gerudo Town quest. That wasn't too tricky, but it's definitely a bad omen that it was this complicated just speaking to the area's leader. All right, let me just spring jump. Ah, damn it. Reaction spring jumping gives me way more airtime to open the map, but mashing left trigger and the A button is also the way you speak to NPCs. Even though I perfectly jumped after talking to her, the surface was already on my map. Guess we gotta go for again. This time I skipped the wing ladder entirely by landing it right on the edge. My parking skills have truly ascended. See ya, cart. And there we go. Now that I know I don't have to actually land on anything down there, this is much simpler. Here we go. I missed the 13 frame reaction. I'm washed up. Oh boy, here I go for again. Okay, that one's on me. I really threaded the needle of mediocrity there. Girl, we are 40 hours into this challenge. You can't be slipping off of wings this late in the game. I think I'm noticing a pattern here. I always seem to get incredibly close to these things on my first try, and then have to spend another 45 minutes picking up the pieces after a small mistake at the end. Is there a psychological term for that? Like, being silly with it? Okay, what is my actual issue right now? There we go! Easy! Practically my first try. You're supposed to sleuth around the underground town and travel through a tunnel to find Riju. As fun as that sounds, I'm just gonna fly there instead. There she is, the last sage. Riju's been having a little trouble with her lightning blast, so I gotta help her aim. As soon as I gain control, I spring off the ground and drop a wing. I learned my lesson with Unibo, so I fused another spring immediately after. I'm basically gonna have one of these bad boys on me for the rest of the challenge. It's better than recall locking a wing prematurely, since I don't have to intentionally fail just to find out where the wing needs to go. The Kara Kara Bazaara is under attack. Riju asked me to come with her, but you guys go on. I'll catch up. I swear. I walk a lonely road that is not even a road. 'Cause it's not a road that I'm not walking, I'm gonna float. JoJo's Kara Kara Bazaar is being overrun by Gibdos, but we're on the case. Yeah, I'll fight zombie monsters, but you're crazy if you think I'm getting these designer shoes on that dirty sand. Man, they sure look like they're having fun over there. Alright, the bazaar's okay, but we gotta defend Gerudo Town from these pests. I landed at the gate, only to realize the party isn't happening at the gate. Now I've gotta either revert to my last save or awkwardly waddle my way into town. You know what? I'm an inventor. How has it taken me this long to start crafting contraptions for surface travel? I call this the Snappy Launcher Mark 1. It's a cart, steering stick, and rocket. There's an elegance in its simplicity. Let's go! Remember where we parked? All right, just trying to get up these stairs. What's up? Riju tells me to help with fortifying the town's defenses. I'll get right on that, ma'am. That's funny. What am I doing in the depths? Must be one of my many nightmares. The boss told me to fortify our defenses, so I'm taking an hour to fortify myself. It's sort of like putting your own oxygen mask on before helping with your dumb kids. Look at that! 30 more minutes of my life wasted, but I have 4 new shields. I was also running critically low on rockets and springs, so I bought some large zonite charges to toss into the dispensers. And what the heck, me and the hubby went hunting for an easy fairy to take home with us too. Wait, is that my second fairy joke? There's a sky island a bit closer to Gerudo Town and the Lightning Temple, but it's really high up, and it has a King Gleeok on it. Do I look interested in fighting a King Gleeok again? Hell no! I fused 3 spring shields and got out of dodge. Luckily, this island is high enough that you can jump right into town with the diving gear on. Riju told me to fortify the base, so I guess I'll just go around giving advice.
Where do we point our cannons?
I don't know. Left?
And where shall we send our spear troops?
North?
And the sword troops, you dumb bitch! Where do we send our sword troops?
I wasn't built for war! After casually making my way to Riju like a normal human being, I told her the preparation was complete. What, the cannons? Yeah, they're pointing left. Hordes of undead Gibdos are surrounding Gerudo Town, so it's up to me to protect this town of fully capable warriors because, I'm the outsider who just showed up yesterday? Oh no, this is a harmful trope. Launched up and landed on a wing to get things started. On this wing, I shall build my kingdom. My only real concern is keeping Riju alive. The Gibdos eventually crawl inside and they're really easy to kill. I really couldn't resist the hero moment of pocket rocketing around town and bombing the Gibdo nest though. I am the coolest. Why are so many Gibdos coming from the right? Could somebody point some damn cannons that way? I'm kidding, that's on me. It seems the girls are having some trouble outside the wall, but I can't just pocket rocket out there to save them. If I don't have my spring shield equipped, I might get stuck and have to do this whole thing all over again. I built a contraption to get a better view, but that only put me in a worse spot. Okay, now I'm definitely not leaving this wing. After another few minutes, I decided to be a hero anyway and check outside. Just as I was pocket rocketing up, I saw the last Gibdo burning to death. Damn it! Luckily, this is the kind of situation where you're allowed to jump and warp away, so we are in business. I had to go for my way into the underground base again to speak with Riju about this mural. What am I doing in the depths again? How does this keep happening? I need equipment, okay? There's a whole temple on the ground. I'm freaking out. Specifically, I need carts. They're really useful for getting around tight spaces on the surface. The puzzle with murals was completely uneventful, but it is important to me that you know it took my dumbass 30 minutes. Hey, I love Wind Waker. Riju and I struck the key and opened the Lightning Temple. Good grief. This is normally the part where I tell you the temple took me 10 minutes and end the chapter, but it didn't. Not this time. The most frustrating part of this process is waiting on Riju. Come on, girl! Hustle! Oh my god. Oh my god, she's stuck on the wing. She's actually stuck on the wing. Come on, babe! Double time! Let's go! Single file! Come on! Now accepting boarding group 1. I need to shoot that pink orb, but Riju isn't standing close enough for her lightning to reach it. Her AI isn't smart enough to walk around my wings. Riju! Come on! Oh shit, it's the boss. How do you fight a boss on the surface without touching the ground? I thought I had more time. I forgot you fight her at the start. Okay, let me zap ya. Yep, got a lot of room to work with here. There we go. We didn't have to kill her, just get some good licks in. Before we go into the temple, I need to run some tests. The past few hours have shown me that I need better ways to get around on the surface. With that in mind, let me introduce you to the All-Terrain 2024 Snappy Crawler. This bad girl can land without issue and drive along the surface like she owns the place. Now this is a sky challenge. With a tool like this, I think you could feasibly complete a bunch of stuff down here. Maybe you can even beat a lot of the shrines. Nah, next time. It struggles a bit in the sand, but nobody's nerfed. That's where the Snappy Launcher Mark 1 comes in. Nothing beats this bad boy in short bursts of travel. For a second I thought I might be able to land in that chasm. That would have been so fucking sick. Maybe with a few more rockets? I'm getting distracted. Oh, and yeah, the patent-pending Snappy Launcher Mark 1 lands without issue as well. With my new vehicle stored as auto-build templates, I landed on King Gleeok Island and saved my game. It's pretty cool that you can jump directly to town or the Lightning Temple from this island. Okay, let's figure out what the hell we're dealing with. I land on a wing at the door and venture inside with the 2024 All-Terrain Snappy Crawler. This room has the first puzzle. I need to blow away this sand. How can I? Oh, Tulin, give me 5. I place a pot on the button and we're in. Excuse me. Pardon me. Sorry. Thank you. Oh. The 2024 Snappy Crawler definitely is all-terrain, but this terrain is a lot. After an entire minute, I made it down the staircase. We gotta be really careful here. Remember, we're behind enemy lines. Touching anything will trigger the surface text. A fork in the road? What now? The map says to go this way. Alright, what? Hey! No! Well, that's it then. Back to my save in the sky. Can't see that getting old anytime soon. Okay, let's just speed our way back down. If I have to do this every single time I touch the ground, I'm gonna lose my damn mind. Damn it! Yeah, this sucks. I gotta find another way. The first quarter of the dungeon is a maze that ends at the warp point. This is to make repeat returns to the area less cumbersome. If I can get to that warp point, I should be able to skip gophering through the tunnels every time. Lord forgive me, but it's time to go back to the old me. I landed a wing on the pyramid and used a second wing to get right against the wall. From here, I can use my ghost stick to clip inside. Okay, where the hell am I? Well, out of bounds ground is still ground. Guess I gotta be more careful. I went to the other side of the temple and picked a lower spot to start. There we go! That's not what I had in mind. Third time's the charm. Okay, I got some room to work with. The middle area is where I need to be. Let me place a wing out of bounds and This is fine. I'll place another wing. Are you kidding me? There we go, another clip. But this area's chonky. How am I supposed to clip again without touching the ground? What? No! Huh. Apparently this ground doesn't count as solid ground. Interesting. That makes things simple. We are in! Ladies and gentlemen, we made it into the Lightning Temple proper. Equip a spring shield, drop down, and land on a wing. The game tried to ground me, but I know its tricks. I placed a few wings down, equipped a new spring shield, and hopped over to the terminal. This is huge. Now I can warp to and from the Lightning Temple without going through its tunnels. You can actually use a reaction spring jump after a warp to avoid triggering the surface, so there's nothing stopping me from coming and going as I please. Okay, this temple's actually pretty complicated. What do I want to do first? I took the room's updraft and landed in this narrow passage. This right here is why I went to farm carts. I summoned the 2024 all-terrain Snappy Crawler and made my way into the room. If there's one criticism I have for the 2024 all-terrain Snappy Crawler, it's that it doesn't exactly beat walking. But it is good enough for what I have to do. Oh no. I can't drive through there. Don't panic. I drove the 2024 all-terrain Snappy Crawler into the wall and set up my ghost stick. It's dangerous business, but I don't have any other choice. All right, that's the beam of light I need. Now how the hell do I get back in bounds? In summary, I can't. There's just no way. But all is not lost. I dropped a wing on the ceiling of the room. Now I just need to move these rocks. Ultra Hand can't quite reach them from here. Wow, this thing really is all-terrain. Can I put a wing down there? Nope. Let me try again. Oh, wow, awesome. Okay, one rock moved. I used recall to get back up. Now what? It landed! Perfect. Yes. Yes! The light is free! That's step 1 of the process. I warped back to the main room and sprang back up. The light goes through the tunnel and activates this switch. What does the switch do? It reveals another switch. Okay, but what does that switch do? It opens the way to the first terminal. Oh boy! I'm not sure the 2024 all-terrain Snappy Crawler's built to handle that kind of torque. It's cool though. I lifted these rocks up, moved them up and down the shaft, and used recall on them. Now I could drive through without issue. Use some more rocks to jam this death trap, and now we're getting somewhere. Unfortunately, somewhere is a dead end. I need to get down there, but it means abandoning my 2024 all-terrain Snappy Crawler. I carefully dropped a cart and made my way down. This room rotates, and you have to drive this stake into the wall to keep this switch revealed. After pointing a mirror at it, we finished puzzle number 2. I made my way back up to the 2024 all-terrain Snappy Crawler, pointed this mirror down the hall, and revealed the first terminal. All of that was for 1 of 4 terminals, by the way. Rejy! Where are you? I shit you not, it took 4 minutes for Riju to show up. Oh my god, you can do it, I promise. Alright, 1 down. Next we'll head up to the higher levels. I point some mirrors around and reveal an additional switch. The one fault of the 2024 all-terrain Snappy Crawler is that it doesn't go up staircases very well. That's why we also packed the Snappy Launcher Mark 1. Here we go! Oh my god. That wasn't your video buffering. I actually just moved fast enough to lag the game. Alright, well, I'm here. That's good. But I need something to stand on. Ah, fuck. Let me try again. Here we go! First try. Use the mirror and we're golden. Now we just have to wait for Riju. Is this a good time to mention the 2024 all-terrain Snappy Crawler has offensive capabilities? If you love your family, you'll buy one. Turns out Riju was stuck behind my carts from earlier. Are you kidding me? I waited 10 minutes for her. That's 2. The next terminal's behind this gate. In an act of true ascension, I clipped through the wall, only to realize there's a hole you're supposed to use. And I had to open it for Riju anyway. That's 3. The last one's in here, and it requires a bit of combat. Like the Cybertruck, the 2024 all-terrain Snappy Crawler can take a few arrows without issue, but this one only costs 9 zonai, not your marriage. My combat options are pretty limited on this thing, so I opted to shoot a dozen arrows from across the room. Function over form, kids. This terminal requires me to drop down from somewhere else and let Riju in with a switch. Why do that when I could just clip in? Listen guys, I'm taking all the easy wins I can get. I'm fighting for my life in here. Riju! Come inside please, darling. And that's all 4 terminals. You know how the rest of the dungeons took like 10 minutes apiece? This one took 3 hours, and we still haven't even fought the boss yet. Alrighty, here we are at the final stretch. Wait, I still haven't thought of how I'm gonna fight a boss without touching the ground. Steady, steady. Ah! Well, not like that. As soon as the fight starts, I spring off the ground and shoot some bullet time lightning arrows at the boss. After a few of those, I land on a wing to see where she's heading. I'm a sitting duck on the ground though. Everything about this situation is bad and I should not be doing it this way. Damn it! She kicks my ass on the ground. I really can't fight her on these terms. Once I get her stunned like this, it's pretty simple for the rest of the first phase. Phase 2 is when shit gets criminally insane. The ground goes from being not ideal to absolutely impossible. Her mooks are too dangerous. This fight was definitely the single hardest thing I had to overcome in this challenge. Sure, it's not a puzzle like getting the paraglider, or a tricky sequence of inputs to avoid touching the ground, but it is an execution test on a dozen different skills with 0 room for error. I spent almost 2 hours banging my head against this boss trying to figure out a consistent strategy. Believe it or not, there's not a video tutorial for beating Queen Gibdo without touching the ground. Can't imagine why. I guess I have to make it, right now. Dying to Queen Gibdo will set a temporary respawn flag in the boss area, so you can retry it as many times as you want. As soon as you spawn, reaction spring jump to get into the air. Shoot her with something electric to make her vulnerable, then set a wing to drop. Don't be afraid of her in this state. Fly directly toward her and fire your highest damage items you're willing to lose right into her face. After a certain damage threshold, she'll be stunned. If you set your wing right, you should land on it naturally. At this point, equip a second spring shield and shoot her into phase 2. Since there are so many enemies on the ground, we need to finish this quickly. Do another reaction spring jump to get back off the ground. Now it's time to unload everything you have. Dragon scales, rubies, topaz, anything. The wing from earlier should still be there, so land on that when you're done. Queen Gibdo should be hurt at this point, but you gotta throw the kitchen sink at her to end things immediately. I used 2 sapphires and a ruby to help deal with her and the enemies around her. Then I equipped my 3rd and final spring shield and dealt the killing blow. Yes! Yes! God! Yes! I did it! The entire lightning temple, all without touching the ground. It was all building to this. Every technique, every failure, the 4 previous dungeons, all of it was training me for this final moment, and I did it! That's all 5 dungeons without triggering the Hyrule Kingdom text. Challenge complete. I win. It's over. What do you mean the old dungeon speedrun has to do Hyrule Castle too? Okay, fine. Let's just call it a victory lap. While I'm at it, let's actually 100% clear the depths. Last time, I got every piece of legendary clothing but one, the Hood of the Depths. In order to activate the last bargaining statue, you need to gather its 4 eyes from the Great Plateau on the surface and return them to the abandoned mine. I entertained doing this in the last video, but I was under the misconception that going above a certain coordinate value would automatically trigger Hyrule Kingdom. This video has made it pretty clear that's not the case, so let's grab those eyes. Done. That took a whole hour and none of it was interesting enough to talk about. Just imagine landing on a lot of wings and reverting to a lot of saves. The bargaining statue gives you a heart container, so let's just consider this one of the dungeons. That's a joke, but it might make some of you mad anyway, so I call it a win. And there we go! The Hood of the Depths! Oh, I look good! Finally! I truly 100% completed the depths with absolutely... well, lots of stuff, actually. Since we're running errands already, I decided to go to Hyrule Castle to grab the champion's leathers. I don't know, it just felt like I should wear them for the climax. I had a hell of a time actually grabbing it, though. There's gotta be an easier way than this. Alright, there we go. I guess I should grab the Hylian shield if we're really going for the whole look. Hell yes! The mother of all shields. I could pocket rocket forever with this beauty. Why did I wait till the end to get it? Damn it! There's one more thing I need to complete my Link cosplay. The Hylian trousers. There he is! Link in all his glory! Pictures with me are $5. Please follow my thirst traps on Instagram. Now that I look the part, it's time to do the quote-unquote last dungeon. After beating the water, wind, fire, and lightning temples, you can speak to Purah at Lookout Landing. Instead of her normal spot out in the open, she's hiding behind 4 walls and a roof. Great. No worries, I can figure this out. First, I dropped this cart on the telescope. It fell to the ground, but I recalled it back up. Oh my god, that was dumb, that was dumb. We're okay. I flew back up and landed on my floating platform. From there, I dropped a new cart and carefully put it beside Purah. I probably could have made this easier with Recall Lock, or maybe the Zonai device that's actually a floating platform by design, but you come here for the SimplySnaps method. Admit it. Now it's time for Hyrule Castle. The gimmick here is the fake Zelda luring you across the dungeon and unleashing hordes of enemies. This isn't harder in the no surface challenge, it's just slower. Since height is my greatest resource, I warped back to the Great Sky Island between every Zelda encounter. This made reaching the next one much easier. Here we are, Zelda, in your bedroom. I didn't realize you had company. Lucky me, I always carry protection. It's for when I finish. Just gotta fly in here and... oh no! Now I've gotta... wait. The surface isn't loading? Fucking... what? This video's a feature-length film already, and we're still changing the rules? Get that out of here. Yeah, for some reason, only in this hallway, the surface text doesn't seem to be triggering. I am really stretching the definition of the floor is lava challenge now, but take it up with my map. Okay, what? When the battle ended, I got the surface text. That's not consistent with anything I've seen up to this point. The text has no problem triggering during special enemy encounters or even boss fights, so why does this one like hallway have special rules? How many other places in the game are safe to stand on, and I just never messed up to find out? Man, I really hope a modder makes some kind of tool for identifying safe collision before I make the last part of this trilogy. I reverted to my last save and can confirm the floor's still safe to stand on so long as a single like is alive. That's... whatever, let's just move on. Time to fight Phantom Ganon. What am I doing in the depths again? I needed the Savage Lionel bow, okay? Phantom Ganon's pretty tough. There we go. Stop me if you've heard this one. I sprang up at the start and fired a bunch of arrows. With the Savage Lino Bow and Bomb Flowers, this fight went from barely possible to a total cakewalk. There it is! All 6 dungeons! If you count Hyrule Castle as a dungeon, which is pretty weird if you speedrun.com. I guess Phantom Ganon is in the boss rush, so I'll give you a bit of slack. Zelda's hand has touched this torch. I have to admit, rolling up to Ganondorf's army with the 5 sages by my side has never felt this satisfying. I really grinded for this view, that's for sure. I've already spanked Ganon on this file, but some people are immune to learning a lesson. Let's see if he gets it a second time. You have no idea how much you fucked up, buddy.
Stop! Cut it out! Please! All right, I'm leaving.
Where do you think you're going?
I said I'm leaving.
Don't you run away from me! And there we have it, another challenge complete. I beat every dungeon without getting the surface on my map. It's a surreal feeling. I also got every outfit in the sky and beat all 28 skies. Oh shit, the 28th shrine! Zelda, yip yip! Woo! Now that's what I call a sky challenge! See y'all next time!